Hey guys, welcome to the second part of the computer controlled drone design. This is Chris speaking. So I will show you how to set up your Raspberry Pi using MATLAB in order to run a program wirelessly from your computer to your Pi here. So I'm using Raspberry Pi 3. You will also need an SD card. Make sure that the SD card comes with a small one, because you will later need to put that into your Raspberry Pi. It'll be in the back, but that will be later after I've loaded the program, the Raspberry Pi OS system onto it. The next step, put it into your computer, and I'll show you the rest on the computer. So guys, I have inserted my SD card. In order to check to see if your SD card's there, you will go to your File Explorer, and as you can see here, I'm already at the SD card drive here. It will be called your D drive. It won't be your C drive. It'll be this one. You can see here I have already loaded the OS system onto the SD card already, but I will show you how I was able to put this onto the SD card. First of all, you will need for this project for making your Raspberry Pi work wirelessly using MATLAB, you will need MATLAB first. You will also need Raspberry Pi Imager, Advanced IP Scanner, and PuTTY in order to run your Raspberry Pi wirelessly with MATLAB. So, and I will show you about this file a little later. First of all, I will show you where to go to get these software. Of course, for the MATLAB, you will need a license. I'm not sure, or at least you'll need your school license. You can sign up with your school, and you should be able to get MATLAB for free, student version. For Raspberry Pi, you will go to the raspberrypi.org/software here, and in order to get Raspberry Pi Imager, you'll come here, go down to the bottom here, and it will show you download for Windows, and you would click that. For Mac, it would be there. I'm not using Mac. For Advanced IP Scanner, you will go to this site, advancedipscanner.com, and for the PuTTY program, it would be www.putty.org. You would download this one, the first one, and that's it. So you would have all these files. You would have your Raspberry Pi Imager, all these. So first of all, in order to load your OS system onto your SD card, you go to Raspberry Pi Imager here, click on that, click yes, choose your OS, it'll be the first one, choose SD card, and it'll be your D drive, or it could be your E drive. Just make sure you know which one it is, and then you would click write to it, and it will write to your SD card. But I'm not going to do that because that will take forever, and I already did that with mine. Next I will go to here, and this is when I show you this file here. It's called the WPA supplicant file. After you have loaded your OS system onto it, you can create this file here. It's WPA supplicant .conf file. That's what you will name it, .conf. Make sure that you do not include this parenthesis 1 in parenthesis, because it will not work. You will need this code here. I will give it to you in the description below. You'll need the SSID number, which would be for your network name. Mine is 6VK87 here. Put that down right here, 6VK87. And there also includes a password. It will be your password for your internet. I will not give you that. but I have already made my own WPA file already right over here, which I can, as you can see here, I did not include that parentheses 1. Make sure you do not include that. It will not work. And then you would drag that and put that in. You'll also need one other file. You would right click here, go to new. It'll be a text document, and you would name this SSH. It is the file that you will need. As you can see, this SSH file is actually supposed to be a just a file. It's not supposed to be a text document or any kind of other file. It has to just be named file over here. So in order to do that, as you can see, it's called .txt. In order to get these extensions here at the end, you will have to go to view here and make sure that your file name extensions box here is checked, or else you will not have those extensions here. So make sure that it's checked. So in order to get that name file, you will delete all of this and click enter. Click enter. And then click yes. And there you go. It's called file. This file is supposed to actually help load your terminal window. For example, like the PuTTY program that I will be using. That's just for some extra information. But after you've done that, you will just have to, you can just eject and put the SD card into your Raspberry Pi. And that's what I'll do in a minute. So after you've taken out the SD card, you will also take out the small piece that comes with it from inside, and you will insert that into your Raspberry Pi. That will be the first step you will do before you plug in the power into your Raspberry Pi, because that way it's actually loading your SD card into the system here. And you will see this green light here. It will turn solid like right now, and it will not flash for a minute. So when you see it flashing or it's turned off completely, it's ready to be you're ready to get on MATLAB and be able to connect to your Raspberry Pi. And I'll show you that on the computer. So I have already opened MATLAB here. In order to connect to your Raspberry Pi, you will need to put in the function. You could put in the rasp function first, but in order to get this rasp function to work, you will need the Raspberry Pi toolkit. In order to get that, you'll go to Home here. You'll go to Add-ons. Put in the Raspberry Pi. And you'll come down here. You'll see MATLAB support package for Raspberry Pi hardware. Click that. And there will be a button here. It will be called install. Mine says manage, but yours will be called install because I have already installed mine. But after you've clicked it, it'll install, and then it will ask you if you want to set up later or now. For my video, you will set up later because we'll use the rasp function to connect to the Raspberry Pi. So we will put in. You can put in r equals, or you could put my rasp, doesn't matter, but this will be the first function you'll put into your MATLAB to make it connect. I will call it r here for rasp. And after you've written this, you will have something called IP address, username and password. In order to get your IP address, you will go to Advanced IP Scanner here, and then click Scan. it'll come up with a bunch of different names. I'm not going to click it because it'll show a bunch of information. So you will see in the fields, in the field names here, name or manufacturer, you will see Raspberry Pi, and you will use that IP address into your MATLAB function here, or Raspberry function. So I will put in the IP address, which I already know. It's 192.168.1.19. And then your username is Pi, and password is Raspberry. And then you can go to editor here and run. You can run it, but you will have a lot of errors. The errors are, it will connect to the Raspberry Pi, but it's going to come out with an error with your I/O. Your input/output is not going to work, so you'll have some errors. So if you don't want those errors, we will go to PuTTY here, put in the IP address 19, and then click open. Click yes. The username is Pi, and the password is Raspberry. You will not see the word, but when you click enter after you've entered it in, this will pop up. And you will put in sudo. So you will need to provide these codes in order so that you will not get those errors on MATLAB. So you will put in sudo apt install libnanomsg-dev libjson-c-dev and libjson-c-dev. I will also have this code in the description below for your reference. Now you would click it. You would push enter, and here you will put a Y for yes and click enter, and it will install those files. And finally, when we go back to MATLAB and run your Raspberry in here, it should work. But if you already ran your Raspberry function, you might get an error down here saying something about your IP address. It's already been, I don't know exactly what it is, but you might get an error and it'll say something about your IP address was already put into the system here. So what you'll have to do is exit out, or you could delete all this here and put a colon right here, and then that might work. But usually if you do get that error about it was already run before and it doesn't want to run it again, so you will have to exit out and go back into MATLAB. Now you would click it, run. So this will take a little bit of time. And there you go. It is launching MATLAB IO server. It is finished. So in the next video, I will show you how to set up your Raspberry Pi to run a motor using the PWM function for a motor. And this will be for the drone in the next video. So see you in the next video.